If you're currently in therapy but you're not quite sure if it's working, this video is for you. People go to therapy because they're looking for a change in their life and how they feel. They want a professional to help them untangle the chaos in their life and move forward in a healthier direction. They believe that going to therapy is going to make them feel better, and sometimes it does. However, it doesn't always happen right away, and it's not usually a continuously positive experience. Now, if you've been to therapy before and you have had a positive experience, you're not questioning whether or not it's working, and you know what I'm talking about, that the process of healing and growth takes time. However, if you aren't noticing positive change, at some point you need to question whether or not therapy is actually working and why that might be. Hello everyone, my name is Tia and I'm a licensed psychotherapist. I make videos that offer tips on how to improve the relationship with yourself and with other people. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you never miss more tips from a therapist. Today, we're talking about when therapy doesn't seem like it's working. The first possibility is therapy is helping, it just doesn't seem like it right now. In the beginning of the therapeutic process, the therapist assesses where you are now, how you got there based on your past, and helps you develop a path towards the future that you desire. The therapist spends a lot of time really getting to know you on a deep level and begins to identify and address problem areas. This early phase of analyzing and processing the past can be difficult and emotionally draining, but also deeply satisfying. This is where connections and insights take place, as well as introductions to new ways of being. However, there is another phase of the therapeutic process that most people don't talk about. I call this the goo phase, inspired by the butterfly life cycle. This is when a caterpillar creates a cocoon and its tissues are dissolved into a goo that slowly reforms into what eventually would become a butterfly. The therapeutic process is very similar. Once you've undone what was pre-programmed by your upbringing and past experiences, your present can feel weird, uncomfortable, and uncertain. When we stop using those old coping mechanisms, we feel exposed and vulnerable because we aren't quite ready or proficient in those healthier ways of being yet. This is what Brittany was talking about when she says, "I'm not a girl, not yet a woman." And even though you're changing, the people in your life and the situations that you've got going on most likely haven't. And they're usually quite disturbed that you're wanting to change up the status quo. In this goo phase, clients feel like they're regressing. They may not be doing what they said they wanted to do in therapy and feel somewhat depressed. They want to be at home, they're resting a lot, and they're not really interested in being around people. They're still in the process of forming who they're becoming and don't know how to introduce their evolving self to their current connections. And even if they do know who they're becoming, it takes a lot of energy to retrain yourself how to be in the world and retrain the people in your life how to engage with you. So if you've previously had progress in therapy and feel like you might be regressing, there's a possibility that you're in the goo phase, that you're reforming and re-energizing yourself before you face the resistance of other people's reactions to your change, or before you're ready to make big life changes outside of the therapy office. The goo phase is not stagnation. It's you getting ready to take the next big step. However, if you don't think you're in the goo phase, it could mean something else. The second possibility is therapy was helping, but it's not anymore. Sometimes therapy gets off to a great start, but gradually loses momentum. The therapeutic relationship is similar to all relationships in the sense that sometimes someone is a good match for where we were, but not for where we are now. It could be that your therapist was really helpful during a certain phase of your life, but not in your current phase. It's not necessarily that it's a bad therapist, I would hope, but what you need has changed. It's kind of like having a favorite shirt that doesn't quite fit the same as it used to. Now, maybe your therapist is missing something important based on their approach, and you just need a new set of eyes to help you interpret things a little bit differently. Or maybe they're not the right person to take you further than they've already taken you. They could be a good chapter in your character building multi-part series. The third possibility is therapy isn't helping because they aren't the right fit for you. The biggest factor of success in therapy is the therapeutic relationship. So if the therapist isn't a good fit for you, therapy will not work. Now, you may be able to tell whether or not it's a good fit as early as the third session. If by then the therapist doesn't really seem to know or understand you, or you just feel like you're not really clicking, that is a cause for concern. You may notice that they listen a lot and reflect what you say, but don't offer much insight. You may notice that your feelings are always so valid to the point where you're stuck in them rather than having your thought process and behaviors challenged. There are also things that you may notice beyond the third session. Now, therapy is a one-way relationship. The therapist is there for you. However, over the course of time of getting to know someone, you may begin to notice the humanity of your therapist. All therapists are imperfect human beings with their own biases and limited understanding. Now, while we do make efforts to keep those in check, therapists are people first. They make mistakes, and they have a way of conceptualizing things that may not align with what you need or what you resonate with. Usually this is found in differences of faith, values, or lifestyle. Now, to be clear, your therapist should not push their beliefs onto you, but your therapist may stumble upon sensitive topics that are off-putting to you and change the way that you see them. Yes, you can get the ick from your therapist. Maybe your therapist just got engaged and you're struggling with the loneliness of singlehood. Maybe your therapist is about to have a baby and you just lost yours. Maybe your therapist brings up the topic of faith and you actually have a tumultuous relationship with religion. Maybe your therapist has a personality or a therapeutic approach that you just do not vibe with. It's absolutely valid and necessary for you to find a therapist that you feel safe and comfortable with. Now, if in the process of therapy you notice things that aren't helpful or kind of distracting to your therapeutic process, it's best to find someone who can better connect with you. The fourth possibility is therapy isn't helping because of timing. Now, my graduate school mentor, Dr. Davis, told me a great therapist joke. How many therapists does it take to change a light bulb? Just one, but the light bulb has to want to change. Now, this is not blaming the client for not doing enough. It just may not be the right time for them, or what the client thinks they want isn't what they actually want to prioritize right now. Many people want to quit drinking, but don't want to change their friend group that only parties together. Other people like the idea of going to therapy and becoming a better version of themselves, but don't want to focus on their shortcomings. Some people want to date more intentionally, but they're not ready to let go of easy attention. If you find yourself avoiding or not following through on behavioral changes discussed in therapy, even though a part of you knows that you should, you may not have enough leverage to make such a significant change in your life right now. Right now, change is a should for you, not a must. Now, therapy might not be helping because you haven't reached that mental and emotional place where you're ready to implement the change that you discuss in therapy. You've got your target in sight, but you're not quite ready to pull the trigger yet. You have values that aren't a priority right now, and that's absolutely okay. Some people bring themselves to therapy with good intention, but rather than that being a life-changing event for them, it's really just meant to plant the seed for later change. Sometimes therapists don't get to see the fruits of change develop, but they're a part of tilling the soil, planting the seed, or providing early support for future growth. Everybody is on their own journey in their own timing, and even the best therapists can't pull open a flower bud to make it bloom faster. If you do find yourself in need of a new therapist, check out my previous video, How to Find a Great Therapist, where I help you know what to look for and how to screen a potential provider. I also have a list of the best therapist listing websites that I know of listed in the description box below. Did you find this video helpful? Did either of these examples apply to you? Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.